Hello everybody. This is Twisted D4E here. And I guess I'm going to say I'd like to welcome you all to uh me reading the My Salvation Tegan Knox X Male Reader fanfic story from Wattpad, except in this case I am implementing one of my wrestlers into this, and I believe, unless I'm wrong, yes, the person I'm using is my what I guess I'd say it's my main male wrestler OC, Chris Corino. He was formerly known as Aaron Storm, but I made a name change and a kind of gimmick change thing with him for to be Chris Corino. If it's too confusing, I can interchangeably, I guess, use Aaron Storm at the same at certain points. But anyway, so here, first off, I'm going to be. I actually made a bunch of thumbnails in preparation for doing a lot of this, and I actually changed the thumbnail of the most recent video I did, which was reading about 33 minutes of one of these Rhea Ripley X male reader stories. One of them I'm going to read at a certain point today is a Rhea Ripley X male wrestler reader or whatever story. So that'll be interesting, and I already have someone in mind for that. But anyway, let's begin. So this is My Salvation Teen X Male Reader. Shout out, I'm gonna say, to Martin Graff 98 for the creating such a really good story. There's a lot of stories of his I really enjoy, and he actually, funnily enough, he has one of your character, the reader, being a male adult star, we'll say. I don't know how long it's been, so I don't want to. Not really looking forward to getting in trouble for saying, you know what, fuck it, porn star, and you get to have sex with a bunch of female porn stars. Anyway, all right, so here you go. The intro. Big disclaimer for before anyone starts blowing shit at me for making this a male reader story. I want everyone to know that I am aware of Tegan Knox, being bisexual, and I'm happy for her in every way. She deserves just as much happiness as every single one of us, and I will continue to support her for as long as I can. Same here. That being said, I would like to wish all of you a great time reading, even if I went a bit into hyperdrive at first. So I'm guessing that means like he kind of was going into so much detail at the beginning at first. Anyway, let's begin, shall we? Life isn't always fair to either of us. Some people get the long end of the stick and live a happy life with no trouble whatsoever. The others get the last bit, aka the short end of the stick, and suffer day by day. It was hard to get around, and yet there was hope. Hope that things would get better. Hope that one day everyone on Earth could live in peace with each other, and that mankind was united at last. One of the people who were more on the suffering side was none other than Tegan Knox. She was wrestling in NXT, yet several injuries derailed her march. A torn ACL, MCL, lateral collateral ligament, meniscus, and patellar dislocation. Things didn't look too well as she was currently recovering from another torn ACL that put her out of action, for an indefinite amount of time. Fans and friends around the world were heartbroken when they heard the news, hoping that Tegan would be able to return sooner rather than later and make a real impact again. On the other end of the spectrum, there's Chris Corino, a young, charismatic, and talented man who is also currently out of action with an injury. His, however, didn't come from a match or a backstage attack. His came in the form of a gunshot. It was just a press conference after a press conference when it happened. Chris took some pictures with fans and autographed a few things until a shearing pain hit his left hip. Apparently, someone brought a gun despite security checking everything over. Nobody knew who the assailant was, but the case was still being investigated at this point. Chris has been rehabbing ever since and hoped to be back to full health again as soon as possible. Two completely different people on the sidelines due to different injuries. Only time would reveal what might be in store for both of them, both work-wise and more privately. Jumping to a sunny day during fall, things were still kind of crazy all over the world, and people started acting really weird. However, not many actually made big headlines, to be honest, for our two protagonists, which is your character, male reader, in this case, Chris Corino and Tegan Knox. This day meant another exercise session at rehab, and coincidentally, they were at the same facility. Starting with the man of the hour, Chris Corino, the man who is still wobbling around with an injured hip. He signed with NXT at the start of this year and was looking like a promising talent in the black and gold brand. The incident at the press conference hindered his push, though, and put him on the sidelines. It still sucks so much that he was taken out this quickly. But Chris knew he had to fight hard to do his fans proud, especially because there were big things waiting for him. The young man had his headphones in as he made his way into the rehab facility, looking for his trainer, and soon they found each other. Roy Dillinger, fitness coach and one of the best rehab experts Chris has ever worked with. Ever since Chris got here, they had a mutual understanding for the gravity of the situation, and Roy saw something in the youngster. Ah, Chris, there you are. How's the hip? It's certainly not hopping yet, Roy. How have you been doing lately? Just fine, actually. The wife and kids are holding up well, and my sister got married again. Isn't that the fourth time by now? Fifth, actually. I don't know what Kendra is looking for, but I hope she finds the right one. Speaking of, don't even get me started on Pauline. Who was Pauline? Easy. She was Chris's ex who kept bugging him over and over again. Chris didn't block her number, but he barely ever replied to any new texts he got from her. What happened between you two still hurts to recall, Chris. How did you move on? Trial and error, Roy. Trial and error. And a lot of that, I might add. You're a weird boy. King of Madness is my name for a reason. Anyway, what's on the agenda today? Well, Chris and Roy discussed the plan for the day. Protagonist 2 entered in the form of the one and only Tegan Knox. She was way too familiar with these walls by now, but another torn ACL was going to take time to heal and recover from. She was an unfortunate soul as well, just because this kind of injury hindered her before, but this time Tegan needed to kick ass again and be stronger than the last time. Her friends and family were with her through it all, giving her the motivational boost she needed so desperately. Surprisingly, Tegan also had Roy as her coach, so she headed right towards his office as well. Tegan heard him talking to someone else, so she softly knocked on the door for him to get the attention. Good morning, Roy. I didn't want to interrupt anything, so I just knocked like this. Haha. It's okay, Tegan. You're not interrupting anything. Trust me. Come on in. Tegan smiled, but felt a little nervous because she and Chris didn't know each other very well. They barely even talked to each other this far, and Roy saw the uneasiness on their faces. Lighten up, you two. It's not like we're here for the first time. Sorry. It's just, I don't think we ever got introduced to each other. That is right, but I'm always open to new people. Chris Carino is the name. Wait, you're the guy that got shot, right? How are you even a person? Me, I'm just surviving day by day. What about it? Didn't it hurt, though? Like a bit. Ow! Chris got interrupted by Roy softly slapping him on the back of the head. This was a reminder to not swear that much around him or others. Watch your mouth, Chris. Next time won't be as nice. Got it. Sorry about that. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it. I'm Tegan Knox, by the way. Oh, yeah. Heard about you. Sucks that you're injured once again. I was looking forward to seeing the shiniest wizard in action again. You and me both, Chris. I guess fate had different ideas for both of us, though. I'd love to let you continue your chat, but we got work to do. Chris, get out of here, get your ass out of the chair and follow us. Aye, aye, Captain. Chris said in that mocking tone before he got up and followed Roy. And Tegan got to their usual work spot. He wasn't rebellious towards others, but Roy could be a lot to handle sometimes. Then again, now that Tegan was introduced, Chris found himself feel more comfortable. It was just because of the heat of the moment, so it didn't let himself be distracted too much. 5 hours and a whole load of work later, Chris and Tegan were finally done with their usual routine. To say Roy liked to push them to their limits was an understatement, because they were sweating like hell while the 6'8" giant grinned at them in amusement. Come on, guys, it wasn't that hard, was it? Easy for you to say. You didn't need to go through this. Yeah, what he said. I need rest. Count me in. Both of them fell backwards and onto some mats that were laid out around the gym hall as Roy looked down at them. At least you're making good progress this far. Keep it up, and you might be ready sooner rather than later. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it. I'm beat, but I'm agree. See you soon. So Roy left the two alone while Tegan and Chris just lay next to each other, breathless, sweaty, but about to laugh. For the very first time talking to each other, they surely had a lot of fun with each other. It wasn't long until Tegan sat up, though, and stretched with a satisfying pop coming from her bones, which probably made other people cringe, but not Chris. He took a lot more. He took a lot more relaxed. Uh, he took a lot more relaxed and rested his head on his arms, watching the brunette get up. Are you going to stay there? I don't see a reason not to. I got a feel like sweat, germs, dead skin cells, the cold. Should I keep going? Nope, you got me when you brought up germs. This was Chris's cue to get up, so he got off the floor and joined Tegan by the vending machine for a can of soda. Even though you're in NXT, you haven't had that many matches yet, right? That's right. I was about to bring you to a storyline with Tyler Bate, but then, history. Sucks to be you, haha. But I get it. Injuries really suck all over, and I'm sore all over. Tell that to my legs. They're tingling right now, not in a positive way. You put it on a great worth ethic, though. Gotta hand it to you. As long as you don't put it to me, it's fine. Chris looked like he wasn't catching on at first until the connection finally happened in his brain. Apparently, Tegan was trying to make a pun then and there, but Chris didn't get it immediately. How and where did you get that from? What? You said you gotta hand it to me, so I evolved the joke. Was it that bad? No. It was good. It was just unexpected. Ah, got it. Anyways, I will head out now. Gotta head home and make sure my friends don't kill each other. Should I be worried? For me, no, but for them, yes. Their personal Captain Marvel will kick butt if needed. Right. Have a safe trip, though. Don't want to hear that you got hurt even more. True. It's enough as it is. See you next time, Chris. With that, the two waved each other goodbye, and Tegan made her way outside while Chris was finally brought out the laugh he was holding in from her pun. This was something different from the usual trouble faced, and to be honest, he enjoyed that quite much until he noticed a phone on the floor. That's weird. As far as I can tell, no one left their phone like that before. She must have not noticed that it slipped. So to return the phone, Chris bent down and picked it up before he went to the parking space in front of the rehab facility. He had no idea what kind of car to look for, so he headed through blindly and asked several people for help. Not many were actually willing to listen to him. He was far from giving up though, and his hope returned once he spotted Tegan hopping into a car just a few feet away. Hey Tegan, wait! Chris called out and walked over to her as best as his hip allowed him to. It quickly caught Tegan's attention as well as she looked over at him while doing her best to get comfortable in her seat. Is something the matter, Chris? You almost left your phone in there. I know it's a minor thing, but I can't have you run without it. Running is in my schedule for a while anyways, but thank you nonetheless. The two smiled and Tegan took her phone out of Chris's hand, putting it in her gym bag. Her friend, though, looked at me in a bit of a hurry, though. Excuse me, but can we go now? Otherwise, the food's going to get charred. Oops, sorry, Candace. We'll be done in a flash. I hope so. I didn't bring you here to flirt. It's not like that, miss, I swear. Exactly, Candace. We just happen to have the same coach here. Right. Anyways, goodbye, mister. Goodbye, Chris. See you soon, Tegan. Goodbye, Miss Purple Haze. What was that? Nothing. Have a safe drive. This time it was a goodbye for sure as Tegan closed her door and waved Chris goodbye again as Candace drove away from the rehab facility. It wasn't unusual to get talked to by others, but Tegan felt a bit different with Chris. He wasn't a hater or an overjoyed fan looking for a cheap pop. Instead, he seemed honest and genuine. Candace noticed that her friend was thinking, so she softly nudged her shoulder with a gentle smile. You seem to be in a good mood today. I am, because I had a lot of fun so far. Did Roy finally go a little easier? Pfft, I wish, but that's not it. Is it the other guy? The other guy is called Chris, and we finally got to talk today. Oh, that's cool. Did you just say Chris, as in Chris Corino? Yes, exactly that one. Can you leave his story, though? No, I can't until I see the scar from the bullet. You just want to check him out, don't you? Very funny, Tegan. I have Johnny, and we're more than happy with each other. As for you, you seem to be quite fond of him. Don't jump to any conclusions now. I merely had a good time with him. Nothing more, nothing less. Then what's with the slip of paper that was on the back of your phone? Excuse me? Hearing Candace bring that up immediately set Tegan in the frantic mode as she took out her phone again to see that there indeed was a piece of paper on the back. You got to be joking, right? That sly devil is already planting his seeds. What will I do now? You should calm down first. It's not like like you have to stress yourself just because of him. It's not like that. It's not that. It's just the fact that not a lot of people just give me their phone number to keep in touch. Am I that hard to approach? Hey, don't doubt yourself. You're awesome the way you are, and everyone loves you. Some people just can't handle being around a famous athlete. I guess you're right. Sorry about that, Candace. I think I'll give it some time before I do anything with this number. Candace smiled and reassuringly squeezed Tegan's hand to let her know she would get all the help she needed. Tegan was also sure that this wouldn't be going without teasing and joking from other friends, so she braced herself for the worst. So here we go. Bio. Full name: Chris Corino. Age 24 years old. The face claim used here is Aaron Melzer. Birthday. Why do I not have this like up in my mind like immediately? Uh, October 21st, 2000. And he's from. It's kind of interchangeable, really, for him. I'll say he's from no, screw it. He's from Adelaide, South Australia. Relationship status: single but bothered by his ex. Height: 6'4". Weight: 230. It's actually like 1 inch of height down and a few however many pounds of weight added. LOL. Likes jokes, fun, laughing, hanging out with friends, wrestling, being in nature, movies, video games. Dislikes: the cold, injuries, sickness, bad moods, buzzkills, hate, racism, and justice. Got into wrestling due to his mother, who let Chris stay up late as a kid to watch Raw and SmackDown. He started wrestling at the age of 17. He was active in New Japan Pro Wrestling, AAA, and Combat Zone Wrestling, aka CZW, before signing with NXT. Signature moves appears to be like a single running knee strike, the shock treatment. If you know the wrestler Abyss, basically an Argentine backbreaker. His finishers are the Diamond Cutter and I believe package pile driver. Theme song is Art of Dying, Do or Die. And yeah, that's basically the general info for Chris. Chapter 1. Wise men and women tell of great fortunes, yet they never mention that the path would have to take to get what we want would actually be this troublesome. It was the afternoon the same day Chris and Tegan met each other as Candace just arrived home with her friend after talking way too much and way too long about the same thing. Sure, it's nice discussing further, but even Candace had a limit of how much she wanted to actually hear. She stopped the car in the driveway and quickly got out to help Tegan out of her seat, as well as handing her the crutches. Tegan smiled as she secured her footing for walking to the front door, opening it with a bright and very loud, "We're home!" alerting everyone else that was in the house at the time. The first one to react was none other than Candace's husband, Johnny Gargano. Well, that certainly took you long enough to get back. Sorry about that. We were held up by someone. Someone rather interesting, might I add. And that cost you 10 more minutes? Yes, it did. And I'm not ashamed to say that I was having a good time. Sure, now off to the kitchen. Lunch has been waiting for all of us, and I am starving? That was the second male in the house, who's Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny's best friend. You're not in a good mood today. What's up? It's nothing, Candace. Don't worry about me too much. Are you sure? You seem kind of grumpy. It's just probably his new NXT show that's coming up, bugging him because he's not really booked to do a lot. Don't even get me started on that, Johnny. All right. We should eat now, right? Not without me. And then came the third woman of the house and another one of Tegan's best friends, Dakota Kai. Sorry I'm late, guys. I was setting up for my workout. We can clearly see that. You look like you're about to start. And you'd be right about that, right about it. So what's the news today? Did anything interesting happen in the morning? Well, Tegan and Candace said they met someone new today, but won't reveal to us who it is. It's more Tegan's task to do that, so I'm not saying anything. Gee, thanks a lot. Okay, now you gotta spill the beans. I want to hear every detail. Don't you dare try to hide anything from us. Easy, Dakota. The poor girl just got home from rehab. Oh, don't worry, because that's exactly where I met him. Oh my gosh, Tegan has found herself a guy? I cannot believe it. So much for keeping things casual, as all eyes were on Tegan now, who felt a little anxious. She knew her friends always meant well, so the Welsh lady took a deep breath and began to talk, starting off with the name. His name is Chris Corino, and he's at rehab for his own injury. He's the guy that got shot in the hip, right? That is tough. You know him? A little. Got to talk to him a few times during and after shows. Looks we got an invader in our midst. Chris isn't an invader. He's just trying to live his life as well as we do, even if being on the sideline sucks. So, what did you and Chris even talk about? The usual know get to know you stuff, parts of our past, a few hobbies and all that, and then I made a really bad pun. Tegan giggled to herself and surely hit her sleeve in the face in the sleeve of her hoodie. It was embarrassing for her to tell about that joke again because it wasn't even that funny in her own opinion. However, the others took well enough to it when they started to laugh softly. Okay, that is great. You really hit him with a limb pun. Yes, and I was so uncomfortable after saying it out loud. I still think that Chris might think I'm a fool, but you're not, especially not because of one small joke. The thing is that also that Chris gave Tegan his number without her realizing it at first. Tegan nodded once again and put her phone on the table, screen facing upwards. And what now? Turn it over. And that's exactly what what Dakota did, revealing the message, revealing the note, and reading the message on it to everyone who was around. He did not just write this. Tell me he did not just write this. For those who can see, it says, "You sat down next to me, and I think I forgot how to breathe." Meeting, and he's already flirting with you, huh? Sounds like a fun one to me. I don't know what to do though. It's like I want to text him, but I don't want to be a bother either. I said it before and I'll say it again. Just give it some time. You don't have to rush yourself. Exactly. Take it easy. Once you feel comfortable enough and are sure that you can handle it, message the guy. I'm sure he'd be delighted to hear from you. And he got his backup if he hurts you or something. Johnny, what? All I'm saying is that Tegan can always count on us. You're like a sister to me, Tegan. You know Chris a bit better than we do, so I believe you'll do what's right. Thank you all. I'll think about it before I make a decision. Um, Everyone smiled at each other before we started eating breakfast. Oh, it was breakfast, boy. It wasn't a usual situation for them to help in such a way, but when it was about Tegan, everyone immediately switched to help her to get the best result possible in the end. At the same time, Chris was just getting home as well after doing some grocery shopping and picking up a few painkillers as well. Even though rehab was helping very much and he didn't stress himself out too much, the young man still felt the searing pain in his hip at certain times. Not that it would stop him from a lot of things, but it bothered him too many ways as he carried two big shopping bags up a flight of stairs. That's what I get for picking this apartment over any other. Oh, okay, you can do this. Trying to motivate himself, Chris began to climb the stairs step by step, ignoring the pressure and just hoping he would reach the end sooner rather than later. He was fit, no doubt about it, but things weren't the same since getting shot. When I'm back at full health, I'll kick the ass of the one who recommended this place. Getting pretty annoyed, decided to pick up the pace and take the last quarter of the stairs in a quick succession before reaching his door. Truth be told, Chris hated stairs and did anything to avoid them as much as he could. But since his apartment was the last free one in the neighborhood, he had no other choice but to accept it and move in. The only positive thing about it was that he had a nice landlady and he was face to face with her as soon as he walked inside. This was Susan Williams. She was the landlady of the house, and she checked in with Chris at least once a week. Not, no, she didn't feel any kind of attraction to him, but she was familiar with his occasional adventures and behavior most of the time. Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Susan. What brings you here today? Nothing much, honestly. It was just time to see how you're doing. That's very kind of you, as always. Thank you. I was just getting home from the store after finishing my rehab session. I figured, because you weren't there when I unlocked the door and got in. It's Friday and around 9:30. My rehab is from 8 to 9. Don't you remember? My apologies, Chris. I was a bit out of it right now. I was a bit out of it right now. Can I at least help you put the groceries away? That'd be greatly appreciated. And with that, both Chris and Susan began to put everything in its rightful spot. No, Chris wasn't a perfectionist or anything, but he just like having things somewhat organized. And with some help, everything went by faster, which made it a whole lot easier to concentrate down the line. He knew Susan for about 4 years now, and they always had a good time around each other. Then again, it didn't compare to the first meeting with Tegan earlier. Quickly putting that thought aside, Chris smiled after Susan put the last item away. Thanks for that, once again, Susan. I don't know where I would be without your help sometimes. It's no big deal, Chris. You're one of my favorite people in this neighborhood, and you're not having an easy time right now. If you need anything else, just say so. I appreciate the offer, but I'm fine right now. That's all fine. I'll see you around. When Susan left and Chris locked the door, he sighed softly before letting out a chuckle. Never would he have thought that things would go the way they did. For all he knew, his assailant could have easily killed him, yet they somehow kept him alive for whatever reason. It felt like a game of cat and mouse. Then his attention shifted to Tegan again as Chris recalled her joke from earlier. Hand and feet jokes. Not what I expected, but she played me well. I should check out her stuff again to get a better understanding of what she's about. Chris did exactly that as he started up his laptop and put his headphones in, ready to dive deeper into the story of the girl, the shiniest wizard. A few days passed, and Chris took a lot of time to not only get to know the wrestling side of Tegan, but also to prepare a few things in advance of his return. He got checked through again by a team of doctors who said he maybe needs another 4 or 5 weeks of rehab, but then he should be cleared to return from injury. The young man had a big smile on his face after hearing those news, and his first move was to post a long and heartfelt message on his social media accounts. Hey there, everybody. I've got an update for all of you. As fans and friends and coworkers, you're probably wondering what's even going on with me right now. Well, I have good news. In about 5 weeks, you all might see me back on TV. That's right, my latest check revealed that I will soon be ready to return where I belong. NXT hasn't seen anything from me yet, but I've got a lot in store. You know my story. I was just getting started and shot in the hip of all places. The damage itself and the surgery has kept me away from any wrestling related activities for about 10 months now. I was lucky when I was doing an interview last week to give you guys and girls at least something. Now I want to say that I appreciate the love and respect you're giving me throughout such a hard time in my life. Without the support, the well and so on, I wouldn't have made it this far. I owe you all something for the missed time. Hashtag comeback, hashtag my time, hashtag ready. After posting that, Chris was about to put his phone away when he suddenly got a notification. It was a message from an unknown number, but to act on his genuine instinct, Chris opened the message and smiled as soon as he read the first sentence. Hey there, it's Tegan. Hopefully I'm not bothering you right now. I just wanted to say thank you for bringing me my phone last week. Hi there, Tegan. It's all fine. You're not bothering me. You're also welcome. Who would know what other people might have done with it? Yeah, you might be right about that. They either destroyed it, sold it, or threw it away. Yep, the unfortunate truth is that many younger people are just looking for a quick buck, no matter what. How are you doing though? Today, by the way, same old, honestly. Your knees still giving me trouble, but thanks to my friends, I'm always in good spirits. How about you? First, I really hope you get better soon too. It's still bad that you're sidling like this. And second, I'm feeling much better. That's great to hear. Care to explain? Well, I might be back on TV soon. What? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Chris, I'm happy for you. Thank you, Tegan. It's so surreal to me, actually. Just a few weeks ago, I told I wasn't in the right condition yet, but today it's. Or I could explode from happiness. Haha, I know that feeling. I really hope everything goes well for you then. Chris, you deserve a triumphant return. You deserve it more, though, considering your own history. Hey, is it too early to ask if I could come over sooner or later? Chris, you bloke, I'd love to have you over. My friends know what happened to you, so there's a lot to talk about. My reputation exceeds me already. That's unheard of. Wink. Oh, shush. I'll just give you my address and then we're going to see how the day goes. Chuckling, Chris replied that he would come over as soon as he could. Honestly, he didn't think Tegan would text him so quickly or at all. But now he was invited over. The young man smiled, grabbed his belongings, and then went down to his car. A Volvo P1 800. Definitely not the most modern or stylish car in the world, but it got the job done every time. Thanks to Tegan's message with her address in it, Chris had a relatively easy drive. The only thing annoying him was the traffic all the way through, as he just wanted to see his new friend. For once, do I want to have a clear path? Is that too much to ask? This made him sigh. Before the massive cars moved forward and he could finally progress. Not that Chris hated driving as a whole; he just hated being stuck. I hear ya. There were enough instances already where Chris was yelling at other drivers. Road rage was real, but he was driving alone most of the time, so nobody was in danger. Discovering these memories was hard for Chris, though. Oh, sorry. Discarding these memories was, for now. Chris just continued to drive for a few minutes before he finally pulled up the Tegan's supposed location. Well, that looks like a great neighborhood. Looking around, Chris noticed it was fairly simple, but still lively in a lot of places. Dogs were barking, kids were running around, couples were talking. Overall, quite a comfortable atmosphere as he punched the front door and rang the doorbell. Didn't take long for someone to open, and Chris soon found himself face to face with Candace again. Look who it is. Hey there, is Tegan here? She told me to come over. Yes, she's here, but first I want an apology. For the hair comic? Come on, the purple just gave me the shot. Okay, I'm sorry for that making that joke about your hair. That wasn't too hard now, was it? Nope. Candace let Chris in and closed the door as they walked through the apartment until they reached the living room where Tegan was currently playing Injustice 2. She was currently so into the game that she didn't notice Candace and Chris approaching from behind, watching the fight unfold before their eyes. The two stayed relatively silent throughout until Tegan hit the finishing move on her opponent to win. Only when she leaned back and felt someone's abs against her head did the Chinese wizard turn around and yelp in big surprise. Gah! What are you doing here? Well, I live here, and I let in your new boy toy. I'm not a boy toy, but yes, she let me in, and we decided to watch you play. She is called Candace, by the way. Just get introductions out of the way. Well, Chris and Candace shook hands. Tegan blushed in embarrassment and tried to cover her cheeks with her hands. So now that I'm here, what's up? Nothing much. The last rehab session was tough, but I strive to come back stronger than ever. You will, little lady. Judging by the determination you put into your recovery, you'll kick ass out there as soon as you're back in the ring. True, you managed to come back before, so you can, and we'll do it again. Trust me, we believe in you. Thanks a lot, guys. I don't know what I would do without so much support. Don't fret it. Think about the future and shoot for the stars. What's with all the chatter? With another female voice ringing out and one of the doors opening, Tegan's best friend, Dakota, stepped into the living room. We're just talking to. Dakota, meet Chris. Chris, this is Dakota Kai. Nice to meet you as well, Dakota. The pleasure is mine, Chris. So you're the guy that's flirting with our Captain Marvel, huh? Kick rocks, Dakota. It's not like that. If you're talking about the note, I was just playing around for a little. I didn't think anyone would find it, let alone think of it the way you do. That pickup line though, Chris. Really? You can't stop a hopeless romantic, no matter what you try. It's like putting a dummy in front of a tank. Or you bring a knife to a gunfight, you'll lose. Speaking of, how's the hip holding up? Definitely better than a few months ago. I told Tegan about it. I think you should know that too. In about 5 weeks, I'll be making my return to NXT. Those news alone made Candace and Dakota smile and cheer immediately, while Tegan leaned against Chris before all four of them high-fived. That's awesome. NXT better step up to be prepared when you come back. I bet a lot of people are excited. Tegan, what are you doing? Tegan was sitting closer to Chris and had her arms wide open, supposedly asking for a hug from the tall man. Without hesitation, he embraced her with a soft chuckle. That's my way to say the congrats to you, Chris. You earned this opportunity. Thank you all, but especially you, Tegan. I can't wait to see this Chinese action Chinese wizard back in action soon. Hopefully it's soon, because I want to go out there and wrestle again. There's the little fight monkey. You'll be back sooner than you might expect, Tegan. Once the ducks clear you, it's time to get back into the grind. With everyone smiling, and Tegan still hugging Chris, the four kept talking and mostly getting to know Chris, since they haven't really met before. There's a lot to uncover, but the day was young, and the group had a lot of time to talk about everything. Chapter 3. About 2 hours of talking and generally having a good time. Chris had to excuse himself to the bathroom for a moment. Honestly, he had already had a lot of fun with Dakota, Tegan, and Candace, and he definitely hoped for more of it. They aren't going to be alone for that much longer, as Johnny and Tommaso came back with his 2 shopping bags full of food, drinks, and other essentials. By the looks of it, they had prepared for a barbecue as the two put meat, vegetables, salads, and sauces into the fridge. Did you get everything? Yep, we bought a bit more than we might need, though, so eat to your heart's content. Well, I'm sure this is going to be awesome. Yep, it's better than earlier. Ugh, we had to search the whole city just for a bell pepper salad. Thanks, Dakota. Hey, you told me yesterday to add something to the list. If you missed something, it's not my fault that you can't get it that easily. All right, calm down. Think about our guest. What guest? The question was answered when Chris came back from the bathroom and locked eyes with the two men who were quite dumbfounded by seeing him so suddenly. He's alive! Of course I am, you donut. I'm not an object. I know, but you got shot months ago, I might add. Truth be told, the rehab seems to help him a lot, so it's even better to see him in a better condition already. Tegan beamed with energy as Chris sat back next to her while Johnny and Tommaso sat on some kitchen chairs. They didn't expect such a surprise, but it made them happy to see their Welsh friend with a smile on their face again as well. Aren't they cute together? Kick rocks, Dakota. I love this so much. Love you too, Tegan. But seriously, you're hogging Chris ever since he got here. That's because we're rehab buddies. That's all well and good. I've seen you, Chris. Post, Chris. It will be great to have you back in NXT soon. Thank you. Maybe then I'll finally get the chance to shine. Fully pun, fully intended. You've been out for a while, so I would start easy when you're back in the ring. It would suck to see you injured or hurt again and have our shiniest wizard worry about you. Stuff a socket into Dakota. All right, now we got it. Tegan and Chris have a special bond or something. No need to beat a dead horse, Dakota. Compose yourself. Ooh, Papa John's coming through. Get yourself ready for when you're in Kansas' child is born. Yeah, it's so exciting, but also quite nerve wracking if you ask me. There's so many things to care of and all. Don't stress yourself out though. Once the kid is here, the Gargano family is complete. And if you need help with anything, you can ask me as well. You and kids, really? Let me remind you of what Johnny once said once on Up Up Down Down. I like babies, but I don't like if I could break, because I could break them. I would be in trouble if I hurt a baby. How does someone break a baby? I don't know. Ask Johnny. Hey, I wasn't thinking straight in that episode. And no, I don't know how to break a baby either. You're weird, guys. We're a weirdly wonderful bunch, Candace. So while everyone share a laugh with one another, uh, Chris thought to himself that he had found the right group of people to become friends with. From Dakota, who was the teasing, fun-loving kind of girl, to Candace and Johnny, who kept everything together in the house, to Samasa, who was more of a serious guy who still supported everyone, and last, but definitely not least, was Tegan. Truth be told, there are quite a few things you could say about her, but that would take too much time. Well, since it's almost lunchtime, why don't we have the barbecue now? Uh, we're enough people with big appetites as far as I can tell, and having Chris as our guest of the day is also going to bring more fun. Oh yes, let me help you. That was Tegan's last statement at the moment as she tried to get up quickly, but due to her knee not being strong enough, she almost fell. It could have ended badly, but Chris was there to catch her before anything happens. Our first meeting at your home, and you're already falling for me. I didn't expect that. Sorry. Stop flirting, lovebirds. Help us with the food and everything. Chris chuckled and helped Tegan stand up straight before running a hand through her hair and heading to the kitchen. A simple action like that made Tegan blush, though, as she tried to hide her embarrassment. Half an hour later, and the grill is fired up nicely. Since it was Johnny's home, he should be at it taking care of the meat, but he told Tomas to do it. Me? Why? Because I did most of the heavy lifting with the bags. Also, you brought the grill, so you should know what to do with it. To be honest, I have no idea. You're lucky that's already taken care of. Jeez, and you call yourselves helpful? Don't be harsh on them, Candace. They can't help being smarty sometimes. Hey, it's a nice there, Chris. I tread lightly every now and then. Has it ever gotten you in trouble? Several times, but it didn't get me fire suspended, so it's all good. You just have to know how to walk on the edge. You had a discussion with Hunterdale, didn't you? Yep, but it wasn't about that. Then what was it? A very dangerous question. Anything could happen due to how predictable an answer to it was. The good thing though was that a deep breath kept Chris calm as he flipped some of the meat. It was about my ex. Not many questions asked, but sometimes she's still bothering me. Poor you. She's on it again. Everyone stay calm. Why? It's everybody. No, everyone broke out into laughter because the response made no sense whatsoever. Dakota couldn't pop a bone just because Tegan felt sorry for Chris. That would be ridiculous. Oh gosh, Coda, why? Sorry, I just thought I'd lay in the mood a bit. You definitely did. That was so damn random. Haha. Don't worry. You're not missing much. Are you? Come on, Chris. You can't just outplay me at my own game. Just did so. Checkmate, Dakota. You just got played. Haha. That's just mean. I swear I'll get you back for this. I'd like to see you try. An unusual side was a smug Chris right there as he countered Dakota again, which made her a little mad. She wasn't used to getting responses like that, but now she had to deal with them. Chris just chuckled and put two big plates of meat on the table for everyone to enjoy. After a long and intense and very filling barbecue that led to some very funny banter, it was time to take care of the dishes and put the leftovers into the fridge. Truth be told, not a lot of food was left after everyone ate. Either 2 or 3 plates full. Yeah, the friends really did have a big appetite that day, but now some of them regret having eaten so much. Candace giggled as she looked at everyone, just shrugged. You don't have to dig in like that, you know. Yeah, but we can't just fridge everything. Plus, Chris grilled everything we brought, so blame him. I was just doing my job just because you two couldn't. And he still managed to talk me down. I swear this won't be the last time we strike such a balance. A sourdough battle? That's fine by me. Keep the tissues ready for yourself. Oh, now you're on, Chris. Hey, don't throw my rehab, buddy. Calm down, guys. We got a lot of stuff to take care of, okay? Yes, miss. Sure, mother. Laughing softly, everyone got up and brought the plates and everything else into the kitchen. Johnny and Tommaso were set off to do dishes, which they didn't argue because of how stern Candace was right now. On the other hand, Tegan brought Chris to her room for a little one-on-one chat without any interruptions. Sure, she took the teasing exchanges quite well, but she needed to have a normal conversation with her friend right now. I want to thank you again for taking the time to be here, Chris. It was a lot of fun having you. You're more than welcome, Tegan. When you invited me, I couldn't say no. And why is that? I just need to get out of my apartment and see other people. Had I known that you live with Candace, Johnny, Dakota, and Tommaso, I would have brought something extra. No need. You being here is special enough. Aw, is someone going soft on me? No, you biscuit. Haha. I just tell how it is. And really, you're a fun guy, honestly. I thought the whole deal at rehab was an act at first, but now having experienced your behavior in the wild, I know you don't disappoint, and you're right in thinking that. But there's more fun to recover. Like, I don't kiss and tell, Teagues. You have to wait and see. You're a strange fella, but I appreciate that about you. Guilty as charged, haha. Okay, Dakota, you can stop hiding now. What? How did you know? Dakota stepped in front of the hallway, looking looking slightly shocked at being found out so quickly. She clearly didn't appreciate it, but now there was no way out, no way back, so she decided to join too. What was that about kiss and tell? I just mentioned that to keep everyone's attention going. You barely scratch the surface on who I am, and I plan to see what more there is. Of course, you're gonna shine at him like a crazy diamond, huh? You just had to bring up Pink Floyd. I did. I would kick you out, but if you weren't my friend, haha. And that's the essence of our friendship, Tegan. You know, we're all a strange little bunch, but everyone checks out more often than not. And I guess you're not so bad either, Chris. Ooh, praise from the captain. I had no idea you thought so highly of me. Don't push your luck. I could bump you down easily. No, you couldn't, and you know it. I will get my revenge. You're like siblings arguing with each other. Haha. He started it. I did, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. As much as I enjoy your bickering, we should probably go back to the others. You think Mama Candace is worrying about us? Maybe. We might be great preparation for when the child is born. Oh dear. The three then decided to walk back to the living room where Johnny, Candace, and Tommaso were chilling already, or at least tried to. Candace seemed really fucking focused on something as she looked at her laptop. Did we miss anything? Candace is going through some meals right now. She didn't say anything yet, but it's about the next takeover. Portland is the destination, but they scheduled it a little earlier. Instead of 6 weeks, it will be in 3. Really? Can they just do that? Apparently so. And by the look of things, a few matches have been rumored to happen. Why do you have a feeling that Hunter or William wanted to talk to me about that because they need the shock value for the crowd? I'm in my prime, and I'll show how tough I can be. Thanks, Grandpa. Now we know. Hey, with everyone laughing, the mood immediately got better once more. But unfortunately, Chris had to be back home. Had to go back home. It was around 2:15 in the afternoon. He had a few more things to take care of. I love to stay longer, but duty is calling, guys and girls. Already? That was fast. It was great having you over, though. Chris, thank you. Take care of yourself out there, okay? With your return ahead, you should stay out of trouble and keep your wits. You're fun to dwabble with. I'll try my best at all of that, guys. Once you see me in the ring again, you better watch out. Everyone either hugged Chris or shook his hand to say goodbye for the time being. Day over at their house felt great in so many different ways, and despite meeting most of them for the first or second time, they had a fun time together. It was Tegan though, it was upon Tegan though to bring Chris to the front door, and that's exactly what she did. The watch girl smiled up to the taller man. You're getting along with everyone quite easily. Like-minded people like you all are more my type, anyways. All those things considered, your type. You know what I mean? I hope. You're a jammy donkey, That means a lucky person. You have so much to learn. Oh, I hope you teach me, and I'm gonna miss you. Oh, I'll miss you too. Don't forget to call or text sometimes, okay? Yes, miss. Tegan giggled and blushed a little before she and Chris hugged each other. They really hit off nicely already there. So it'd be interesting to see where things would go next. They say their goodbyes to one another, and Chris walked out while Tegan closed the door, facing her friends who had an eyebrows raised each. The weeks leading up to NXT Takeover Portland went by quite fast, all things considered, and everyone was looking forward to the event. Johnny and Candice stayed home with Tegan, while Tommaso and Ciampa headed over to Portland since they actually had matches that night. Along with Chris, who kept texting and calling Tegan to catch up and report about the results of rehab. He also made sure to keep her spirits up and make the shiniest witch smile. Just a few minutes ago, he sent her a short clip of his workout. That plonker, I knew he was up to something. Did Chris send you something again? Yep, he is really putting the work to make it back to the ring. Look, the Welsh girl shifted and showed Candice what exactly was going on, smiling at the effort her rehab buddy put on display there. Candice giggled and nodded approvingly before both of them returned to their previous positions. Chris does bring more life into the locker room, that's something I can admit. He's a great guy, and during that time in rehab and chatting with him, we all learned that he's not here to hurt anyone. Who is he up against tonight? Duke Hudson. But I don't think Chris will have much of a problem beating him. You're not confident in a new friend? Johnny returned from the kitchen with a teaspoon and some pudding, sitting down with one of their recliners while Tegan put her phone aside. If I could stand, you'd be this close to me kicking your butt, John Bond. She's totally that confident in Chris for a good reason though. His endless workout make me feel bad when I watch. I swear this guy isn't normal. Neither are you, so what's your point? Sharing a laugh. Sharing a laugh with one another, the trio changed over to the WWE Network and got themselves ready for what might be a really fun event. Just making sure everything's all right. Meanwhile, in the arena, Chris was backstage, getting himself ready and psyched up to finally return. Despite his messages on social media, WWE kept it a surprise and set up well to give the fans what they paid for. Of course, the young man was nervous, mumbling things to himself to keep himself calm as he was taping his wrist. A lot of his friends and coworkers stopped by to check in on him, so that was definitely helping Chris a lot. Chris's focus was entirely on the match with which surprisingly was the opener for the pay-per-view, but it was all okay with him. He took any chance to pick up the action again and carve his path into the business. And when a producer told him that things were about to start, Chris nodded and went towards the gorilla, watching Duke in the ring, fooling around with the ref before getting himself a microphone. Thanks to the universe, you're finally in the presence of some pure talent. Thank goodness, right? I mean, you're not exactly the brightest and need a moment to catch up, but whatever. I just know that I deserve an opportunity. My opportunity. To show you greedy, selfish snobs why Duke Hudson is the future of NXT. So Duke earned a whole lot of boos and thumbs down for that, as the crowd disliked what he just said. Despite being a promo, it didn't sit well with Chris either, to be honest. He heard everything, taking it in with his arms crossed in an angered expression. But he decided to let Duke finish his thing first. But I'm not here to talk. I'm here for an open challenge. I challenge whoever is back there to come out here and make me a star. Then the voice of Alicia Taylor, the ring announcer, echoed through the arena. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been informed that we have someone to take the challenge, making his NXT in-ring return. The arena was drenched in blue light as the spotlights pointed towards the stage. Anticipation was high, and after a few seconds, Chris stepped out, getting showered in cheers from just about everyone. He chuckled shortly before getting serious and walking towards the ring. Yes, Duke's word kept him mad, and by the looks of things, it would be reflected during the match in one way or another, as Duke argued with the ref. He didn't believe it that Chris came back, nor did he think it was fair. But he had no power in changing the card or anything. Chris was on the other hand, just undid his jacket and took it off before getting into the ring, right across from his opponent. The atmosphere took a big shift when Chris leaned against the top of the ropes to be on the same smug level with Duke, and just a moment later, the bell was rung and the match started. Duke kept up his trash talk towards Chris, calling him an NXT reject and unreliable, that he should have stayed home and be a housekeeper or something. Usually it worked in riling his opponents up and getting an advantage, but Chris was different. He waited until Duke was done before delivering the first bit of offense. Duke didn't see the kick or the reverse DT coming like this, so his first instinct was to immediately roll the ring to rearrange his game plan. He never faced Chris or had any idea what he was about, and that would cost him dearly. Chris stayed in the ring, though, and paced from side to side, wanting to keep everything going like it was supposed to be. He didn't play dirty or need any hidden weapons. His understanding of how to approach different opponents was dangerous enough. Duke learned the hard way when he returned to the ring and his clothesline was reversed into a backbreaker. Over with the Garganos and Tegan, the shiniest wizard smiled at what Chris was doing. She was so proud of him finally getting a second chance to prove to everyone that no matter what life threw at you, you can make it back getting bigger, better, faster, and stronger. Yes, knock that scumbag down, Chris. Now, I gotta admit that Chris has some surprises up his sleeve. I didn't expect him to be so patient yet vicious. And there's more to come. This isn't even scratching the surface of those skills. I'm just so glad he's there, finally living the dream. Uh, a slight blush found its way to her face as well. So to quickly combat that, Tegan drank some cold soda. There's no way she would let herself get caught blushing at Chris's display. Chris and Duke were now in a lockup, trying to overpower each other. Truth be told, Duke had already had enough of Chris's antics and wanted to put him to rest as quickly as possible. Chris didn't just let that happen. The back and forth between the two kept fans watching for what might come next as Chris threw Duke to the ropes and took him down with a lariat. Well, about being the future now, huh? I thought you were a tough guy, Duke, so act like one. With a short chuckle, Chris stepped back into the corner while Duke needed a moment to realize where he was and what just happened. Apparently, he bit off a bit more than he could chew right there, and now he regretted letting it get that far. Then again, Duke could also go to a completely different route and get himself either counted out or disqualified to then do more damage to Chris with a steel chair or anything else he could find. But that was too easy and not worth it. However, the hesitation was a big mistake as well, because as soon as Duke got up and turned around, he was hit with a knee right to the face. The first pin attempt of the match followed, and Chris easily got a 2 count. But that, of course, wouldn't end the match yet. He was in a good spirits now, though, because he got to beat up a smug prick like Duke. Adding to it was the knowledge that friends and family were watching, supporting him from anywhere they could. The ref took a moment to check on Duke, who was disoriented, but not fully out of it just yet. Things could have went bad there for sure, but both athletes knew when to do what and how to react to everything. Chris decided to play a trick on Duke, though, pulling him up to his feet. See, I'm not as much of a jerk. You're up to something. I know it. Don't I look trustworthy to you? Oh, that just hurts my feelings. Do you know what hurts more, though? What? This. A surprise cutter, or diamond cutter, took care of Duke once and for all as Chris got into the pin again and finally got the 3 count, making his long-awaited return a success. Many, though, thought it would take much longer for him to come back, but here he was prepared for anything that would come his way. About 15 minutes later, Chris was freshly showered and dressed again. His match against Duke Hudson quite a positive response from everyone backstage. The producers were happy with how everything turned out, and the way the two sold everything made it even more convincing. For now, though, Chris took a can of soda and sat down on a nearby equipment case to relax and watch the rest of the pay-per-view. Or so he thought when his phone rang and he saw that Tegan wanted to chat. So instead of letting the Welsh girl wait, he immediately entered her video call and was greeted by her smile. Good evening. Hi there, Tegan. I assume you're all still watching? We are, but Johnny turned the volume down enough so we can talk. Great to hear that. I just showered and everything, so I'm prepared. Great. Good, because your match was awesome. Her excitement immediately brought a smile to his face as well. Chris knew Tegan would support him, but hearing opinions about his return was really making him feel fuzzy inside. I swear I was surprised when you went out there and just shut Duke up. You had it coming after everything he said, though. I can only agree on that. Nobody gets away with that. I know, right? And luring him to a diamond cutter like that was a smart move, too. Very stealthy. I'm full of surprises. You should see it when I'm going longer than 10 minutes. Tegan giggled and then leaned back in her seat before taking a sip of from her drink. She was really glad Chris could finally return to what he loved doing, but she was also a little jealous. She wanted to come back as well, but she didn't get the green light just yet. I'm sure rehab will get you back into action soon. You're making great progress, and with one more thorough evaluation coming, you should be back soon as well. I hope so. Being sidelined always sucks. How did you manage it? I have Roy, then my landlady Susan, all of you as my friends. I mean, come on, being around people who support you is already awesome. Hunter William checked up on me every now and then as well to know about my progress, which also helped a lot. Chris chuckled to himself when Tegan ran a hand through her hair at the same time. It was great to see the two come closer, even though the distance separated them at the moment. Then again, they would be around one another very soon. When you come back, we should go out, maybe to a cafe or something. Sounds like a great idea. It all depends on when you're free. I'll text you about that soon. I just know it'll be mint. Great. I'm already looking forward to it. But don't be a melt about it. Heh. Hey, I'm not coward. I'll be there for sure. I know. I trust you more than enough to be honest. I'm just excited. Nothing against Johnny or Candace, but their child is due soon. I get you. It'll be much more turbulent around the house then. Should I feel bad for you? No, you ninny. Haha. Sharing a laugh with each other once more. Tegan and Chris had a great feeling about the upcoming weeks and everything they plan to do with one another. Maybe Chris could build her back up could build her back up for the final stretches of the recovery. It was then that Dakota walked by and let herself be known. Hey Tegan, look at you being cozy. It's my usual spot, which is just with a blanket around me. Your point? My point is, I need to talk a moment to talk to Chris about a little something. And what would that be? Not now, buddy, but it's important. I can't spoil it. Oh well, I guess I can free him up, but make sure you don't break him or anything. Easy, sis. Chris will be fine. I promise. I feel very vulnerable now. All right, Chris. I'll text you later. Text you again later. You and Dakota play nice over there. We will. I may not know what she's up to, but I hope I'll return alive. I'm not going to kill you. Tegan giggled and said goodbye to her friends, and with the call over, Chris put his phone in his pocket and finally phoned Dakota. Why are we going outside? Privacy? For what? Jeez, do you always ask so many questions? Just be patient for once, Chris. Rolling his eyes, he just followed along to the outside of the arena. Apparently, what Dakota had to say couldn't wait long enough, so that's why she suddenly interrupted the call. All right, it's about Tegan. Is there a problem with her? No, there isn't. But before we traveled here to Portland, I had a talk with her, a serious one. Keep going. I asked her about you and all that jazz, feeling and all that. Yeah, I figured as much. What did she say? Well, she loves you already, and when she brought up the cafe thing, it was also her idea because she wanted to be alone with you for once. Hold up, right here, Dakota. Are you sure you didn't have an energy drink too much? Dude, I swear, Tegan said it like that. Thanks to all the rehab sessions and your time hanging out with her recently, she realized you're becoming more than a friend to her. This better not be a prank, Dakota. I take things with Tegan very seriously. Bro, this is as real as the Dakota Kai can get. I know this is a lot to take in and all, but please be good to her. As a friend, coworker, a possible boyfriend, okay? I trust you. So did the others. I know how much it would mean to Tegan if you're there for her every step of the way. Chris slowly but surely got convinced now as he heard Dakota explain everything to him. To hear that one of his best friends was actually in love with him was a major shock, honestly. But there was also a big relief in it. Truth be told, he hoped that it was time to give this a shot, nonetheless, and he returned to feelings for her in one way or another. Okay, I got it now, Coda. You've convinced me enough. Good. You're a great guy. We all know that for sure. So one thing serious, don't mess it up, okay? I promise everything will be okay between us. Once everything is set in motion, I will be there for Tegan as best I can. All right, now come here, you devil. Haha. A friendly hug between them followed up to keep up the good mood for the rest of the night. Knowing Chris, Dakota was very sure that something beautiful would come out of that sooner rather than later. All right, a few days have passed by now, and everyone calmed down from the excitement of the weekend. With Tiger having being a blast, it was only a matter of time until the first real shot of someone would come in one way or another. That someone was Santos Escobar, who took a shot at Chris on social media, calling him out very clearly and saying that his return was meaningless in his current generation. How Legado del Fantasma would take NXT by storm sooner rather than later, and a legacy be fulfilled. Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde got involved and backed up their boss as well. But that caught Chris's attention, and a confrontation was set for the coming shows, so it'd be interesting to see where things might go. For now, though, the young man was in his kitchen preparing a nice smoothie for himself. It was around 10 in the morning, and he had his workout done as well, so there wasn't too much to take care of other than an incoming video call from Tegan. Not wasting any time, Chris answered and immediately had the chuckle. You seem to be enjoying the day already, aren't you? I have some time because Johnny and Candace are shopping, baby stuff, Definitely, but they need it now. After all, Quill probably won't be easy to handle. Fair. They asked me to join just to get me out of the house for a while. I can't wait until my apartment is done with the renovations. They said it might take another week, maybe. Hopefully, they can figure everything then. Otherwise, I'll take care of them, if you know what I mean. Jolt, haha. How are you, though? Any soreness? The neck is a bit stiff, but other than that, I'm fine. The electricity from the crowd still has me up and ready to go. Much deserved, if you ask me. Everyone has been waiting to see you in the ring again. You saw the chance and took it. Much like you will take yours, Teagues. I'll have to talk with Roy tomorrow. Maybe we can bring a few elements of my rehab into your program. You don't have to do that, Chris. I'll do what I can. So do I, because you're worth it. And yes, you do know what I mean. Tegan was now giggling and blushing as she tried to cover her cheeks. Even though Dakota told Chris about their chat, she didn't want Chris to find out while they were still apart like this. Chrissy, on the other hand, smiled and took the first sip of his smoothie before the chatter started up again. If you had a superpower, what would you do with it? I'd use it to help people and to see those darn criminals. Too much bad stuff is going on in this world. Fair. I'd probably use mine to teach people a lesson. Really? Then what would you want your power to be? Either control fire or lightning. I want to leave a mark on people who never learn. I can literally imagine how you just stand next to someone and shock them. That's so you. I'll take that as a compliment. What am I going to do with you, plonker? I don't know, but I'm up for it. Both of them now shared a hearty laugh with each other and leaned back in their seats. It was times like these that really brought forth the connection they had and how comfortable they were. Of course, friendship was one thing, but a few others noticed there were sparks of more coming through every now and then. But just as the next point of discussion was supposed to be started, they were joined by Candace, who had a big smile on her face. Good morning to Mr. Making Our Wizard laugh. Good morning to you as well, Candace. Johnny saw at the cashier. Yes, he's still paying and all. Took you long enough, though. I've been sitting here for a while. Sorry, but Quill is a very picky boy. So when Johnny and I tried making a list, we always let our baby boy choose. Don't let that become a habit, though, or else he'll be spoiled. Yeah, be careful. Parenting advice from the two of you, though? Really? Candace wasn't sure about Tegan and Chris's tips, as she just let out a soft laugh. Then again, she knew they meant well, and yes, did have a point, honestly. Sometimes it's better to listen to best friends, and in this case, she had to agree. All right, I get it, guys. Thank you for your input. It's no problem at all, Candace. Make sure to convince Johnny as well. Oh, and Tegan, still on board. If you'd like, we could get milkshakes later today. That would be great. Let's meet around 5. Works for me. I'll come pick you up then. Till then, have a nice day and enjoy yourselves. You too, Chris. Don't do anything stupid. Yeah, stay in line. You hear us? I'll try, but I can't promise anything. See you soon. Kristen ended the call to do gosh knows what, which left Tegan with a huge grin on their face and Cams with a bit of a smirk. Now that the Welsh sweetheart scored herself a day of sorts, things are about to get better sooner or later. There you go, Tegan. I know he would ask you out. I know, and now I'm all fuzzy and warm inside. A milkshake date? What a day. It's a first step. Remember what we talked about. Take things one day at a time. Everything will work out soon. Nodding in agreement, Tegan took a sip of her own drink and went on to daydream as Candace helped Johnny with everything they bought. Maybe it was time. Maybe she has found the one. In the afternoon, the time has come for Chris and Tegan to get milkshakes together, just like they agreed on. Truth be told, Tegan was really nervous about this since she hadn't been on a date for quite a bit, and now going out with someone she bonded with so closely really riled her up. Candace and Dakota talked to her and did everything they could to calm Tegan back down, but there was still some tension there. What they could finalize without too much trouble, though, was her look for the hangout. And you'll like it? Of course. Look at you, Tegan. I just did that. Yep, I'm me. And more than that, come on, give yourself some credit. After all, we're all here for you, and Chris is a genuine guy. Exactly. I think he's just excited about this as you are. Just be yourself and take it easy, okay? I just don't want to mess this up. Tegan sat back down on that couch and talked things over for a second time while Chris was on his way to pick up the usual jolly Welsh girl. He understood the situation and how to feel right now as he straightened himself out. After all, he cared a lot for Tegan in the sense that she felt something for him as well. Tegan was a big help there too, with telling him more about what Tegan liked and disliked. That way, Chris was prepared for anything as he pulled up to a free spot and parked the car not too far away from the front door. He got up and walked up to the nearby window and took another good look at himself. It's simple, yeah, but I hope it gets the job done. Slowly exhaling, Chris then went to the door and rang at Candace and Johnny's apartment. It took a good moment until Candace answered and two exchanged a few pleasantries while Tegan made her way downstairs. She had her purse with everything in it, and by the looks of things, the nervous feeling from before was drowned out to the background. Soon though, she arrived and walked out to see a smiling Chris as they both take a good close look at each other. You look great, Tegan. Thank you. You don't look bad yourself, Chris. Thank you as well. Shall we head off, milady? Haha, yes, please. With both of them in a good mood like that, the vibe was just right when they got in the car, strapped themselves in, and drove off not long after. Chris already had the perfect place in mind, so the whole thing would go over as smooth as possible. After 10 minutes passed until the two got to the cafe, uh, Chris scouted out earlier. Tegan beamed with glee, so to speak, taking a look at everything and just overall being happy to go out once again. Again for once. She finally felt free again after so many hardships. During the drive, she told Chris she had some awesome news, but she kept those to herself so far. Chris just chuckled and followed the excited woman to a booth in the corner when they sat on across from each other. Thank you once again for inviting me out, Chris. You're a lifesaver. It's no problem at all, Tegan. I do what I can, but I mean it. Being around the others all the time can get a little messy. I love them, but they can be really annoying. Relatable. I'm glad I don't have to interact with my neighbors too much. Not a social person. It depends on who I surround myself with. I don't always like crowds. Poor you. Thank goodness you made some good friends in us. I'm honestly glad we're friends, Tegan. The NXT roster in general is like a big group of friends a lot of the time. And once one of us doesn't agree with something, others with similar mindsets join in. You never have to face anything on your own. Tegan smiled, giggled, and ran a hand through her long hair before both of them scanned the menu. It was obvious they had a lot in common, got along, and cared for each other on many different levels. Even some of the wrestlers they weren't as close to noticed there's something about it that made the two really adorable together. So I had some good news. You did? Care to explain? Well, today during rehab, Roy had a few people over. They were scouting my progress and everything, taking notes and all that. In the end, it turns out they were members of WWE's medical team. That's definitely a surprise. What did they tell you? After the end of the call earlier, they called me back and said, I'm ready to return in about 2 weeks. A giant smile made its way to Chris's face as he didn't hesitate to just hug his friend tightly to celebrate those news. Tegan Knox, the girl, the shiniest wizard, was finally going to make her comeback on NXT. That is amazing, Tegan. If anyone deserves a great return, it's definitely you. Aw, thank you, Chris. I knew the hard work would pay off. Oh, it will. And once you're back, you will tear through the competition like a hot knife through butter. You're too much sometimes, haha. Laughter is the best medicine, after all. Let's get ready to order! This is the cue for one of the waiters to come over and take the orders. Since that day has now become even more special, it's only right to go for something just as great. So Chris and Tegan got to know each other even better while they waited for the shakes to be served. After a few minutes, another few minutes later, and the two were greeted by some really delicious looking shakes. Ooh, these look so good. Take it slow, though. No need for a brain freeze, haha. Had too many of those? Way too many, haha. But hey, cooler heads prevail. Right, right. Anyways, what's up with you on NXT next week? I'll miss a song in that night. Someone has to cut down those giants. Oof, that will be tough. I thought they would go easy on you. You'd hope, but they really want to test me after that long absence, and I'm ready to bring it. I know what's going on in your head. Open it and find out. Tegan laughed, even though she sometimes had a hard time following along. Then again, she knew Chris and had a bit of a grip on his mannerisms. She enjoyed his company a lot, evident by the continuous eye contact with him, the genuine reactions to everything they talked about, and the occasional blush as compliments. Tegan was just happy that people believed in her no matter what the situation was. So I actually have, oh, not that I have about uh, six or whatever left. With the milkshakes and a very long but also funny, entertaining conversation dealt with for now, Chris was accompanying Tegan home. He felt like it was the least he could do, and Tegan appreciated it as well. Obviously, the others would have a lot of questions and might tease her about the date, but she didn't care for that right now. They had a great time and got to know each other better. And that was the important part. And with Tegan's return coming closer as well, things are definitely looking very bright for the coming future. Also, can't believe you and Candace had a bit of a cooking show. What happened to that? It was a fun experience. I learned a lot. Unfortunately, there were no further plans to keep going. It's a shame. Yeah, I would love to know how well you can cook. I've gotten better thanks to Candace. Otherwise, I'd still suck. Haha. Sharing a soft laugh with each other, it was clear now that this date wouldn't just be a one time thing. Chris really enjoyed Tegan's company and vice versa, even if they had to give some props to Dakota, who talked to both of them for confidence. It was different from what they thought would be going on, but ever since meeting each other at rehab, things have developed in a very nice direction. It was only a matter of time until the next big step would be taken. You're really something, Tegan. I never met someone with such humor and enthusiasm. You're in for a fun ride then, Chris. This train isn't stopping anytime soon. I might as well enjoy the ride. Cheeky plonker, you. But I really had a great time with you today. Thank you so much for inviting me out. I do what I can. It's no problem, Tegan. I really had a lot of fun too. Any idea where we go next time? There's a next time? Of course, silly. I'm not letting you off the hook that easily. Chris chuckled to himself and thought about what to do for the next date. Tegan was so different, so special in her own way, and he liked that about her. She had this fun and goofy side to her, but she also had a serious side when it came to business. Looking over to her, Chris knew exactly what he had to do and how to put things together to keep this lady excited. For one, he knew that she loved Marvel, so there's something he might include. Tegan looked at him, trying to figure out what Chris was thinking about. She had a feeling he would come up with something really special. Something out of your mind? When isn't? All right, let me rephrase that. Something for our next date on your mind? If you ask like that, yes, but I won't spoil the surprise. Of course not. Haha, you're adorable. I'm just myself, but thank you. Both of them now smiled as they soon arrived at Tegan's house. They stood underneath the streetlight facing each other as they hugged. Once again, thank you for everything, really. I really appreciate it. You're more than welcome, Tegan. Just text me anytime you need to be around someone else. Haha, the others aren't so bad, but I can't be around them forever. Oh, before I forget, this caught Chris by surprise right now as Tegan kissed his cheek so close to his lips. Apparently, she did that thing, and there's definitely more than just a spark between them. But by the looks of things, Chris wasn't resisting it either. He was blushing, though, when Tegan pulled back and waved him goodbye as she went to the front door. Young men could only wave and wish her good night to the shiniest wizard. The following morning saw everyone in the house sitting at the kitchen table to have breakfast together. Well, everyone except Tegan, who needed another moment to realize that the previous night was actually real. Never before did she have someone make her feel so special, and yet here was Chris. He really did a number on her, so to speak, and when she left the room to get some grub too, she was immediately embraced by Candace. I'm glad you're here in one piece, Tegan. You don't worry about me that much. Yeah, because we didn't know Chris's true intentions with you. Kidding, no need to stare daggers at me. You have a weird way to show you're concerned, Johnny. But yes, we were a little worried. Hey, I'm here and unharmed, guys. Chris was a great partner during the date. So much that it was worth kissing his cheek, right? You saw that? Yeah, well, I might have looked out my window when that happened. You really got a thing for him. Ooh, this is exciting. Look like Tegan did find her fit. Oh, stop it, you two. Yes, I like Chris a lot, but we're not together or anything. Do you want that, though? That was a tough question now. Johnny had a point because it seemed like Tegan wanted more, but didn't want to rush into anything either. However, she felt comfortable around Chris. He could make her laugh. He was supported every way, and there was more to him that people realized, and Tegan wanted to get to know him as best as possible. Probably yes. That shook Johnny because he personally still wasn't sure about Chris, even though the ladies tried to convince him that he wasn't so bad. Maybe we just needed more time to see who Chris really was, but for now, the group of friends enjoyed a good meal together to start the day. Now we're at chapter 10. NXT has come right around the corner once again, which is a few days after the WWE Universe is ready for a new wave of feuds and title matches, with Triple H actually being in control of WWE thus far. things were definitely going really well, and the backstage morale got better again as well. Chris, for example, was smiling more as he prepared for his segment for the night. First, he had some really great days with Tegan, which pushed the young man in a positive direction, and now he's getting into his first real feud since the accident. Yes, Chris took inspiration from Hunter as he made his way to the ring. It was one of the best returns from an injury, and the young man thought, why not do something just like that? Of course, he and Hunter talked it over before setting everything up, and by the looks of things, the crowd was loving it already. They cheered for Chris as he walked down the ring and around the ring, walked down the ramp and around the ring. He didn't do the wash spit, though, because that would have been too much of a gimmick infringement. But he did do a crotch chop just to tease the fans and viewers until entering the ring and grabbing a microphone. However, loud welcome back chants kept Chris from even saying anything for a good while. When the crowd eventually got quiet again, he finally got to it. Man, I did miss this. Actually, how have you been? More cheers echoed through the arena, making Chris smile brightly. That's what I wanted to hear. You know, the path I had to take to even get back to this condition was hard. When that bullet tore through me, I knew I'd be out for a while. Luckily, it wasn't a life-threatening wound, but it did more than enough damage nonetheless. But that's now behind me. I'm back in full control of myself and ready to NXT mine again. Another smile flashed at the camera, and Chris ran a hand through his hair. But his return was soon to be spoiled by interruption. And who was the one to interrupt him? Well, Grayson Waller, the Australian who antagonized many people on the roster already. You heard everything, but had enough of this mess, as he would call it, getting a mic for himself. Grayson took a stand just a few feet away from Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, look to who it is. Young unsung hero has returned. Chris, old pal, how are you? And you are? Oh, my bad. I'm Grayson Waller, the guy who's been taking NXT as his ever since you've been gone. You? You want to make this brand yours, buddy? It's time to wake up and face reality. Sure, I acknowledge your accomplishments, but you're not exactly on the level needed to be a leader. Big words from someone who got shot. I usually wouldn't say something like that, but the guy should have aimed at your head. Oh, oohs and boos now echoed through the arena as Grayson wore a smug smirk on his face. He knew he struck a nerve, and Chris took that personally as he paced from side to side right now. Obviously, this didn't sit well with him right now because this event was as real as it got. But Chris didn't let it stop him. You think you're really funny, mate. If you think you can get in my head that easily, you're dead wrong. I stand here 100%, and if you run your mouth again, I won't hesitate to put you on the sidelines. You want to talk about death and injuries, Grayson? I don't know if you've seen my matches, but I'll leave you so mangled that even your own mother couldn't love you anymore. Now there was the fighting spirit coming through again as Chris cornered Grayson. He didn't take it lightly at all, and as soon as Chris got the chance to actually fight the cocky Aussie, he would show him exactly what he was about. Commentators also knew what Chris could be like. But with the new generation of superstars kicking in, things definitely would get more interesting sooner rather than later. For good measure and to get his point across, Chris hit Grayson with a series of slaps and clotheslines. Grayson crumbled to the ground, sitting against the lowest turnbuckle while Chris took a few steps back. He knew he was going to enjoy this feud, even though he still needed a few matches to shake off ring rust, and then got out of the ring but had one last thing to say. Hey, Grayson, you're lucky I didn't put you down completely. I'm saving that embarrassment for a bigger stage, so make sure not to get your panties in a twist. Dropping the mic, Chris chuckled to himself and waved goodbye to Grayson as he walked backstage while the Australian gritted his teeth in anger. There was fire in this already, and with the coming weeks, it would go from an embers to an inferno. Having made it backstage with a smile on his face, Chris decided to go check on Tegan, who was present as well. Her return was next week, but she wanted to see how the landscape of NXT shifted so far. Okay, there is a different direction present now. Many aspiring stars who fight for the same thing I want. I will make a mark, that's for sure. Hey, Tegan, motivating yourself already? Oh, it's hey, Chris. Yeah, it's good preparation. Good to hear. With so many new people, it's a lot to take in for sure. But I assure you that you still belong here, just like anyone else. Thank you. I already heard who my opponent is. It's Wendy Chu. I heard of her. She'd be quite fierce. So can I, and I will show that next week. Trust me, you're gonna love it. I am definitely gonna watch. After all, the shiny wizard deserves the support. This made Tegan giggle and hide her face, because she held Chris in high regards and didn't want to disappoint him. She blushed, but Chris always meant it in a positive way. Maybe there's something bigger developing sooner rather than later. The following day was going to be a fun one over all over. After NXT was dealt with for the week, Tegan asked Chris if he wanted to go out again, and being the gentleman he was, he agreed. Both of them were near a lake outside the city because Tegan wanted to go swimming. Nothing wrong with that at all, since Chris welcomed the idea with a smile and parked the car close to a tree where they could relax if they wanted to. Getting out, Tegan just simply took off the towel that was around her body to reveal herself in a bikini. I love being near water. What about you, Chris? It's not bad, that's for sure. It looks like we're going to have some peace around here. Fair. I mean, we pack snacks and drinks, and we have the car radio to give us some music. I'm just glad you agreed to come. It's not a problem. I'm spending time with you. What's better than that? That made Tegan giggle and blush a little as she grabbed her towel and put it down in the shade while Chris got the cooler and the sunscreen. Both took great care of themselves no matter what, and their chemistry never failed either. Yes, Dakota teased the hell out of them over and over again, but it didn't bother the two that much anymore. Tegan was just happy to have Chris around as she sat down next to her. Even though the summer is almost over, I enjoy the last few days the most. Why is that, though? It's just the transition from summer to fall. The leaves change color, the sky stays lit in an interesting manner. It's just so nice. I learn new things about you every time, haha. Feeling some heat rise to her face, Tegan did everything to cover her cheeks and the feeling of comfort, even though she enjoyed Chris's company. It was the way he said it, though, along with the short laugh, that made something inside her come through. Maybe Candace was right during the last conversation when saying that it was only a matter of time until the sparks would erupt. Maybe just today was the right time to take the next step somehow. Hey, Tegan, are you there? Sorry, I just zoned out. Haha, you're adorable. You dork. Love you too. Kristen put some sunscreen on his hands as Tegan watched. Was he really offering to rub her back with it? It seemed a lot like it, so she just nodded and undid her top so her back was free and took a deep breath when his hands made contact with her shoulders. He took things slow as he rubbed the sunscreen in, also almost making it feel like a massage that seemed to get to Tegan. The sweet brunette relaxed into his touch the longer it went on, feeling his strong hands as they moved down her back. His fingers softly grazed her skin every now and then while still concentrating on the task he was fulfilling. Only when getting close to her butt did Chris have a bit more fun as he gave it a soft smack, making Tegan yelp in surprise. Oi, what was that for? Just wanted to make sure you're still awake. I'm fully awake, Chris. Now you are, Teague, but a few seconds ago, you lost yourself in the rub down. Please don't call it that. Slightly embarrassed, Tegan took off her sunglasses before she went over to the lake, testing the temperature with her feet. Chris smiled as he couldn't help but watch his friend. She's becoming more and more important to me. Hopefully, I don't mess this up. Finishing the rub sunscreen all over himself, Chris soon joined Tegan near the lake, fooling around and just having a lot of fun. They made jokes, almost pushed each other into the water, and soon actually went swimming together. Around lunchtime, Chris was sitting on a small dock they previously used to jump in while Tegan was still swimming. She looked so comfortable in the water, and her form was pretty good as well, to be honest. Maybe she did it more often than he knew, but every second of it was all worth it, nonetheless, until Tegan swam towards him and got out of the lake right up in his face. They were really close to each other, almost no space left between the two until a wave came crashing in and pushing Tegan against Chris. Now, usually this was fine with both of them for the most part, but this current turn ended in a completely different way. Instead of them just being on top of each other, the pressure of the wave made the two kiss. It took a few seconds before they realized what happened until Tegan pulled back first. Her face beat right as she looked at Chris, who carefully sat back up. He was a bit dazed from hitting his head on the dock, but it didn't seem like a major injury or anything. Did that just happen? It did. I don't know what to say. But I gotta be honest right now, Tegan. This immediately got her attention again. She looked at the young man. Tegan had a feeling that something was coming sooner or later, but she had no idea what. Meanwhile, Chris took a deep breath to calm down and clear his mind of any distractions. After all, you saw more than Tegan the most. In the months we got to know each other, I really had a lot of fun, Tegan. Rehab was a lot more fun because of you. Hanging out with you was awesome, and I got to know some really fun people along the way. Well, when we went out for the first time, I knew I felt something. Was it positive? Yes, very positive, actually. And I honestly can't wait any longer. I've fallen in love with you. Now, that confession set off a lot of things inside Tegan as she processed everything. Last few months were quite an adventure, and getting to know someone like Chris was a big step in the right direction for the shiniest wizard. She enjoyed talking to him in person, on the phone, or any other way. She loved the dates they were on so far, and honestly, it was only a matter of time until she might reach her limit too. So Tegan smiled brightly and wrapped her arms around Chris, hugging him tightly. You have no idea how happy I am right now. Does that mean what I think it means? It does, Chris. I've actually had a crush on you for a while, but I've always too shy to say anything. You're my hero. I just do what I can. It had to come out sooner or later. Tegan giggled and held Chris's face between her hands, playing another, this time intentional kiss on his lips. After holding back for so long and daydreaming about what things would be like between them, things now kicked into a higher gear as Chris and Tegan were now officially a couple. Just hearing that kind of story makes me smile. It sounds either childish or giddy. I can't really tell, but I love that. Just that. It was now Tuesday, right around lunch as Tegan, Candace, and Dakota and Johnny took a seat at the table. They had something simple to devour right now, but everyone knows that the Welsh girl was occupied by different thoughts as she texted on her phone for a few minutes. Smiling brightly, Dakota tried to hash a glance at who she was texting, but couldn't figure it out until the doorbell rang. Johnny was about to get up, but Tegan beat him to it and rushed over, opening to reveal her boyfriend standing right in front of her. Hey, I'm so glad you're here. I couldn't pass up this opportunity. By the way, I like the new look. Tegan had her most trusted hairdresser give her a new style of two-colored hair. Not only did she want to impress and leave a mark when she returned, she just felt like something new is ideal for the time. And hearing that Chris liked the final result made her heart flutter. Thank you so much. You're more than welcome. It looks really good on you. Would you like to come in? The others are waiting on us. I would love to. I never miss a good meal. So Chris stepped in and Tegan closed the door before they walked to the kitchen again. They knew they were being spied on, but pushed that aside and took a seat next to each other while Dakota, Candace, and Chris and Johnny looked at them. Apparently, there's something in the air that the trio couldn't grasp just yet. First of all, it's nice for you to join us, Chris. But Tegan, why didn't you tell us? I wanted to make it a surprise for everyone. There's more to it as well. There's more to it as well. Is it what I think it is? It depends on what you're thinking of. So let me explain. During our last date, or during our date last week, Tia and I had a talk, one that went a little beneath our skin, but in a good way. After months of back and forth during rehab and meetups, both of us developed a crush on each other, and well, we're together now. Silence, absolute silence, was everything that came through right now as everyone had to digest these words. Dakota really tried really hard to keep it in, but her inner fangirl won as she had to wipe away tears of joy. Candace Sue grew in a smile as she embraced Tegan in a hug. You earned this, Tegan. We know Chris well enough by now, so you two make the most of this. Thank you, Candace. Without you, Dakota and Johnny, I couldn't have done it. Nonsense. No, nonsense. This is the reward of your hard work, and it's really good to know that you two found each other. I mean, after such a long time, it had to pay off somehow, and this is just wonderful. 4 out of 5 people were on secure land, so to speak, but Johnny wasn't completely through yet. He analyzed the situation in the last few weeks again before forming a final opinion. He got up and asked Chris to do the same, so now both men stood face to face. The tension in the air was present now until Johnny stuck out his hand. Chris nodded and then shook his hand as Johnny said, Welcome to the family. It means a lot coming from you. I swear I will love and protect Tina as best I can. I know, not many people get my sign of approval. Then I definitely probably did something right. No doubt about that. Now sit down before the food gets cold. Now everyone had a smile on their face, especially when Tegan rested her head on Chris's shoulder. They were so in love it filled the whole home with positive vibes. After lunch and a nice dessert, Chris and Tegan were helping Candace with the dishes. It was an act of respect for Chris, especially because that's how he was raised. And he needed to do something to do rather than watch TV or something. The ride to Full Sail wasn't until another few hours, and everyone had their bags packed already, anyways. So they didn't need to worry about anything. The young man surprised Tegan, though, when she put down a plate. Sharing a kiss was still such a surreal experience with the fresh couple, but they smiled as they looked into each other's eyes. You really are one of a kind. There's more where that comes from. I can't wait to experience that. Chuckling, Chris helped her back up and held her close. It wasn't often that he needed a hug, but Tegan's were the best. Candace shook her head in amusement, seeing this youthful spirit. It reminded herself of herself when Johnny when they were just getting together. Soon, though, they joined Johnny and Dakota in the living room to watch The Office together. A good laugh was great to just calm down and enjoy the afternoon. And with NXT just a few hours away, they needed to. Oh, fucking shit. They needed to all get in the right mindset before to get their promos, matches, and interviews just right. I think these are the last two chapters. Another episode of NXT has come in tonight was an exciting night. As not only did Chris have another competition with Grayson, but Tegan was finally making her return to the ring against Wendy Chu. Everything looking exciting, and the young couple couldn't be happier right now as they were backstage, cuddling on a couch. The news of them getting together spread quickly, and everyone who passed by congratulated them, hoping for Chris and Tegan to stay together forever. I'm so happy. I'm so glad so many people accept our relationship. It wasn't always that easy. I can imagine. You told me about your struggles to find one, whether man or woman. I hope I can be the lover you need. You're amazing, Chris. With you around, I feel much more ready and motivated for everything. Thank you, Tegan. You're the first one to admit that. Really? Did your last partner never appreciate you like that? Unfortunately, no. Isla always took me for granted. Isla Dawn. Yep, thank goodness she hasn't bothered me since I broke off things with her. She better stay away. You're in much better hands now. Sharing a hug and kiss, the two quickly forgot about that part of Chris's past as they aimed to make the most out of their relationship. Only a few people knew that he used to date Isla. Even fewer knew what was going on behind closed doors. And Isla never really stopped going after Chris, even though she kept quiet for the time being. Today, 20 minutes into the show, and the time has come for Tegan to make her long-awaited comeback. She has been patient long enough, and her motivation was at an all-time high as she stood stood at the curtain while Wendy made her entrance. Wendy was very cheerful and greeted fans happily. She put her pillow aside and stood in the corner, still wearing the big smile as Tegan's time has come. This was her moment, and she wanted to make an impact. Cheers erupted in the arena, and Tegan was overwhelmed by the warm reception she got. Everyone in the crowd was on their feet, applauding the Welsh beauty as she held back tears of happiness. It was hard, but she managed to keep her composure as she made her way to the ring after such a long time. And although Wendy didn't know her too well, she felt happy for Tegan. As the bell rang, both women shook hands first to signify their respect for one another before the action kicked off with them locking up. Tegan's adrenaline helped as she hit Wendy with a forearm before following up with a dropkick, showing that she never missed a step. Wendy was surprised, but took it well, got up and ran at Tegan with a crossbody to initiate some offense of her own. It was exciting to see her, to see what this could lead to because both women had very different fighting styles and knew how to dish out punishment. They met in the middle of the ring again before trading shots to the face as both were cheered. Fans watched closely, their excitement just as intense as Tegan's and her friends that watched backstage. She had a few surprises up her sleeve, though, and at least one of them in the form of a headbutt as Wendy missed a strike. It broke the brawl for now as Wendy stumbled back into the corner while Tegan shook her head to regain her composure. Their first match back wasn't always easy to handle, but she focused on taking back her former glory. Hanging a series of clotheslines on Wendy's before her for something bigger, this wasn't exactly going to be a squash match. Tegan had a lot to show. She practiced with coaches from all over and learned some new moves just as his Canadian destroyer, which put down Wendy for a good bit as the fans were shocked. They had high expectations, yes, but this wasn't what they thought they would see tonight. Tegan smiled at them and waited for the ref to finish checking on Wendy. Waited for to get wait for the ref to finish checking on Wendy, who took the stairs to help herself back to her feet. She also smiled now, sporting more of a rage and charging at Tegan, but that proved to be another mistake as Tegan chokeslammed her. The first pin attempt followed, and Tegan already got a 2 count out of it, but it wasn't enough to finish this. Wendy had a moment of toughness, and it showed as she got up and now got Tegan with a single leg drop kick. She didn't want to be put down easily, making the shiniest wizards work for her victory, and next got her with a swinging neck breaker. Truth be told, underestimating Wendy was a bad idea as she could show her will to fight like right now and Tegan understood that. However, another turnaround came when Tegan kicked her in the midsection and planted her with a sit-out gourd buster. It got windy good and helped Tegan to now set up the finish as she backed up a bit. She was going to end this now and show everyone else she could still hang with what NXT had to offer. Now, with when the underknees, Tegan took charge and hit the shiniest wizard. 1, 2, 3, and it was done. Tegan won her return match and received massive applause from the audience, from the crowd as she got up from the ring canvas. She knew she was missed, but this made her emotional as the tears actually started flowing. She thanked the ref and then got out of the ring, waving at the fans in appreciation. Backstage, everyone from creative to management and performance center coaches to her friends were present and also started giving Tegan a round of much deserved applause. Thank you. Thank you all. I don't know what to say. You don't need to say anything after a great comeback, Tegan. You earned this. You beat your injury and made it back 100% better. And everyone loved watching your match. Trust me, this is your moment. As a surprise, Chris hugged Tegan from behind and peppered her cheek with a lot of kisses. A giant proud smile on his face. He was so proud of Tegan and felt overjoyed from her victory. You deserve all the praise and cheers, Tegan. People still love you, and I can guarantee they want to see much more. The shiniest wizard is back, baby. Thank you so much, honey. I couldn't have done it without you and the others. It was a long road to recovery, but tonight was just the beginning. Exactly. You have a lot more to give, and NXT will soon remember who you are and what you can do. Tegan nodded enthusiastically and stayed in Chris's arms as Johnny, Candice, and Dakota smiled at the couple. They were meant for each other for sure and had the world in their hands at this point. Only one person didn't seem to agree, watching the two from afar. So this is the last chapter, I believe. After a good shower and putting on some comfortable clothes, Tegan found her way to the parking lot as she was going to stay with Chris for the first time. She knew he had a small to medium sized apartment, but she was excited to see how her boyfriend lived when not being over at Johnny and Candace's place or out for a show. Smiling warmly, Tegan immediately hugged the taller man and couldn't contain her excitement for very long. I'm so glad to stay with you for a while. Finally, there's no one prying about our relationship. I don't mind it as much, but sometimes it's annoying when the others joke and tease us so much. I feel that. That's why I informed them of me being with you. I couldn't wish for a better woman in my life. Tegan giggled and met Chris in a sweet kiss as they stayed cuddled for a good moment. They were adorable in every sense, and the fans supported them endlessly. Some already having made video clips from their videos, matches, and promos. Opening fan mail was also fun to do when there were gifts like letters, drawings, and all kinds of things. It made the two appreciate their audience even more, and they would even put more effort into their work as a result. The sweet embrace was only broken up by the sound of hand claps coming closer. Tegan and Chris and Tegan looked in the direction of the sound, only for Chris to grow annoyed by who stood in front of them. His ex, Isla Dawn. Look at the happy couple. How heartwarming. What do you want, Isla? What, is it an issue I came to see the two of you? It's not, but I feel like you have something else in mind. We're about to leave, that's okay. It's getting late. Not yet, even though we split. I've been thinking. You're not getting back with me, Isla. I'm with Tegan now. Oh, I know, but I also remember how irresistible I was to you before. Excuse me, but Chris isn't interested in you, Isla. Leave him alone. And what are you going to do? Apparently, Isla was looking to cause some trouble as she shot Tegan an angry glare. The redhead crushed her arms, not being a big fan of Chris and Tegan being as a couple. Back when Chris broke up with Isla, things didn't end peacefully as she did everything she could to keep him. She begged, pleaded with him, approached him backstage every show, and spammed his phone with calls and messages. Since March, Chris thought he was safe and Isla wouldn't get in his way again, but apparently he thought wrong. Hey, keep Tegan out of this. She's innocent. Not in the sense of taking you away from me. I wasn't done with you. Hell, I thought about our future together. There is none. We're strictly coworkers and nothing more. I don't care what you think, but Tegan has shown me more love and sympathy in a few weeks than you did in our whole relationship. That's hurtful, Chris, even for you. I know I have my flaws, but we got through this before, didn't we? You did, by using me. I paid for everything. I had to get you out of trouble so many times. I was sick of it. Didn't I make it up to you? Not once. You used me for your own gain and pleasure. Tegan was overwhelmed by everything right now. She heard things she never expected to happen between the two. She knew Isla as a good person most of the time, but this new side definitely flipped the perspective. Isla, is this true? I could be a little selfish, yes, but I wanted Chris to enjoy it too. I didn't. At the start, it was different because we didn't know each other that well, but I soon learned that you're not a loving partner to me at all. I was trying my best for you, but almost making me broke and using me as a toy? Yeah, thanks for that. Things seem like very much like they would get out of hand soon. Isla is definitely ready to strike, but Tegan ended this by pulling Chris away from her while the redhead cursed loudly at the couple and said something about getting Chris back one way or another. The whole situation put an unnecessary stress on the couple as they got to the car, put their bags in the trunk, and made sure to get out of there as fast as possible. Most of the ride was really quiet as Chris and Tegan had to digest the argument. They expected a lot from this night, but the mood was brought down significantly thanks to Isla opening up old wounds. While at a red light, Chris sighed and looked at Tegan. I'm sorry you had to witness that, Tegan. I thought Isla had given up after chasing me. It's okay, Chris. I understand your side and I stand with you. I just never expected her to be such a bad person. She was like that only to me, though. Everyone knows her. Who knew her said she was a kind, loving woman. Well, that was obviously a lie. Yeah, no shit. When I broke up with her, Isla was literally a literal stalker and would come to see me at every free moment. Oh, that's too much. You need space every now and then. Exactly. But she didn't understand that concept, and now she's after me again. I won't let her get to you, though. I don't know who Isla might think she is, but she's not going to split us apart, and I won't share you with her either. Chris had to chuckle a little, seeing Tegan gets so defensive, but he appreciated it since he was the same way. He really loved Tegan and was going to stay by her side through everything. Fortunately, though, they soon made it to Chris's place, getting up the stairs without too much noise. After unlocking the door, Chris uh, Welsh woman walk in and get a look at everything while he put the bags aside. This is actually it actually is a comfy home. I like the minimalistic approach. There's not much, but I get by. I access the upper floor by going up to different segments of my shelf. It's stable, don't worry. You better be right, Prince Charming. Both of them laughed again and made their way upstairs to get to bed. Tia was a little hesitant as she ascended, but Chris was there holding her hand to make sure nothing bad happened. Yes, this was a unique way of getting there, and most people called him weird because of it, but Chris had his quirks and edges. Once upstairs, though, the two were safe as Chris walked towards the king-size bed. Make yourself comfortable. I will sleep in my shirt and boxers. You really take a simple approach to life, don't you? The less variables involved, the less can go wrong. Tegan shook her head with a smile and went around the corner to change to her pajamas, so Chris flipped the pillows and got it comfortable already. He had a feeling things could only go well with Tegan and vice versa. The support from everyone helped them through tough times and pushed them to new heights as well. Another minute later, and Tegan was back too, climbing in bed and immediately calling up to Chris. Need a cuddle buddy at night? Yeah, I love to hang on to my favorites. If I didn't know any better, I think you're made out of sugar, considering the way you swing me up. I'm just feeling great when being with you, Chris. You fulfill me, and I will until my last dying breath, Tegan. Sharing a passionate kiss, the two stayed cuddled up, and Chris turned the lights off before they closed their eyes and drifted off to sleep. The relationship was worth a lot, and they cherished every second of it. So that's the end of this. I hope you all enjoyed this whole entire story. I can definitely say I really enjoy it. I've read it a bunch of times for sure, and I love reading every single time, even if in this case I'm reading it or reading this as my one of my OCs, like wrestling OCs. So that's it's a unique. I'd say it's a unique way of looking at it for sure, but I definitely can say I really have enjoyed this whole entire story. I will definitely naturally to make things a little easier. I'm going to do this real quick because this is part of what I need to do. Is I'm going to do this. I hope you all enjoyed this, and can't wait to do some more things like that.